Welcome everyone to the 2020 APAC Groundbreakers virtual tour by the APAC OUC. This year's event is the biggest one ever done. It's been pretty amazing. We've had over 174 sessions, and this includes normal sessions, workshops, and even hands-on labs, which is pretty cool. From over 123 speakers over 11 days, and we're now in the second week of this. Also, it would cover sessions in 4 different languages. Now, please remember to register for as many sessions as you can. All these sessions will be available. They are being recorded, so they will be available for 2 weeks after the conference. For 2 weeks, the sessions will be available. So I do encourage you to go back and have a look at some of these sessions because there's been some really awesome ones. You can interact with the speakers at any time during the 2 weeks. So by posting questions and comments directly on the playback session page. So please feel free to do that. Now, we can't do this without a few key people. So we do want to say thank you to all the Oracle user groups, the Java user groups that made this event possible, and also to all our sponsors. This is really important. We have to thank our sponsors. So thank you to the Oracle Groundbreakers and to CloudDB. Now, tonight's session, this is really exciting. So tonight's session, we've got Exploring the Multicloud, Integrate Azure and Oracle Database Cloud Service by Alex Key. Now, please feel free to write questions at any time during the session in the Q&A tab. So most of you would be familiar with the Zoom option. If you look at your menu option, you'll see that there's a Q&A tab. Please feel free to add questions throughout the session. And when we get towards the end of the session, we will have a look through the questions and we'll try and go through those questions with Alex. Now, as I mentioned before, the session is being recorded, so you will be able to look at it for 2 days. Now, you're not here to listen to me, so I'm just going to quickly stop the sharing and we're going to hand over to Alex. So if you just bear with us for a second. Right, Alex, you should be able to take it now.
Thank you, Anton. So let me switch to my presentation
Perfect.
here. Okay.
Excellent.
So thanks for joining me today. My name is Alex Key. I'm a product manager at Oracle. And for the next 45 minutes or so, we'll talk about the multi-cloud. It's something that more and more companies, as they move to the cloud, they want to get the best of all the clouds, and that includes 2 big cloud players of Microsoft Azure and the Oracle Cloud. And this session will be about how to use a lot of the Microsoft technologies out there with Oracle Database Cloud Services, specifically with Autonomous Database, Oracle's new innovative cloud database. So what we'll do is we'll first talk about the partnership the Oracle Cloud and Azure have, and then we'll get into some of the technologies. So I'll do a demonstration of using Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio with Oracle Autonomous Database, and then also Microsoft Visual Studio Code with Oracle Autonomous Database. If you are familiar with Microsoft tools, you'll know that Visual Studio is their traditional integrated development environment on Windows, and Visual Studio Code is their newer IDE that's multi-platform, that's used for more than just .NET development, so it can do many languages besides just the .NET ones. And then we'll then conclude with a demonstration of how to use Azure with Oracle Autonomous Database. And in this case, we'll be doing Azure Web App in .NET Core with ADB. And then I'll conclude with questions. So let's talk a bit about the Oracle Cloud and Azure partnership. This was announced in the summer of last year, and it made quite a few headlines all over the trade press for technology. So Oracle and Microsoft, we've both seen that many of our mutual customers are using both our clouds and have asked us, hey, we want to be able to use Azure and Oracle Cloud together. We like we like aspects of the Oracle Cloud. We like other aspects of Microsoft Azure, and we want to be able to integrate our applications together. Common examples are an Oracle database with Microsoft Azure Web Apps, and if the clouds had more interoperability, we could be very successful as customers. So that's what led to this partnership, is our large range of cloud services on each cloud, and our mutual customers wanting us to have them work together well so that they could be productive and use it. And both our companies see the multi-cloud as an increasing trend, especially with the cloud computing in its infancy. What we're seeing is that there is no cloud that is quote unquote best at everything. You have many segments of the cloud. There's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and if you think about, well, which companies dominate IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, you also have to think about, well, within each of those segments, there's probably companies that are dominant within segments of infrastructure, segments of platform, segments of SaaS. Thinking of just, Oracle has a lot of ERP SaaS applications, and there's Salesforce out there, and then there's Microsoft Office 365, which is a SaaS application. So something like SaaS, you have many dominant applications that are out there, but those applications often need to work together, and that's why the multi-cloud is becoming important. And if you think about even on-premise computing today, you have operating systems, Windows, many flavors of Linux. There's no one dominant operating system. You have many different hardware vendors still out there. You have many different databases out there. You have many different application servers out there. And even as mature as those industries are, even they don't have one dominant vendor. What you have is many on-premise software vendors and hardware vendors all working together to ensure all their products work well for the mutual customer benefit. And that's what we kind of see with the multi-cloud, is that there won't be a dominant cloud player per se. There'll be many clouds with different cloud vendors being best at different things. And what is best is also in the eye of the beholder, because best can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Is it just technology? What about price? How about global data center reach in terms of having a major data center if you are a multinational corporation, in every country you do with, because a lot of countries require that data stay within the country and can't, and if it's about their citizens, or about if it's a government application, most governments don't want their information to be held in another country, because that's important for their own national security to keep the data there. So having local data centers is something that is important. Service levels, another important consideration. Security, how is each cloud designed to have very good security in place? And then service breadth, in terms of all the infrastructure and platform and software as a service that's available. Who has the breadth, and that breadth may be different depending on the customer who's used. So the definition of best can be very wide, and what we'll see is customers will pick and choose from multiple clouds, which they're already doing. They're not choosing one cloud exclusively. They're going to multiple clouds, because just like on-premise, very rarely do you see one customer choose an all everything stack from one company. Usually they'll find what works best for them, for their needs, among all the various factors, price, technology, and then they will put them all together and integrate them. And that's what we see for the cloud, and that's why we have the Oracle Cloud and Azure services. So the common usage scenarios that we're seeing customers use between Oracle Cloud and Azure are Azure PaaS with Oracle PaaS. So something like Azure App Service with Oracle Autonomous Database, with Oracle RAC in the cloud, or Oracle Exadata Cloud Service. That's something we're seeing very common. Azure PaaS with Oracle SaaS. That's something like Oracle App Service with Oracle's Fusion Cloud, for example. And another common one is, Azure SaaS with Oracle Cloud. So something like Office 365 using the database cloud or the Fusion cloud. And then what we think will end up being also increasing in use is Azure with Oracle Cloud at Customers, Oracle's on-premise cloud offerings that basically you get a cloud in a box. We ship to your data center an Oracle set of machines for running the Oracle Cloud, exactly like we run in Oracle's data center, but in your data center, which solves a lot of the problems with having the cloud set up co-located within your data center to be close to your applications within your security perimeter. Also, if there's no in-country data centers you can use, getting cloud at customer is perfect for that. And so that's something we see a lot of customers want to use, especially because the Oracle Cloud at Customer is just like the Oracle Cloud in the data center. The main difference is that Oracle's managing it, we're maintaining it, we support it, so that the customer doesn't have to. The customer just has to provide the power and the network, and they're essentially done. So we see Azure working with that as increasingly popular. And then really any combination of Azure services and Oracle Cloud services. I mean, these are just kind of common ones that we're seeing and we think we'll see in the future. But we both at Oracle and Microsoft have wide breadth in services, so customers can pick and choose what they want to integrate with. So what are the direct benefits? What are the things Oracle and Microsoft worked on that are going to directly benefit customers and are directly benefiting them today? Well, one of the things you want to do when you have two sets of data centers is make sure that they have a direct interconnect between them. And the direct interconnect is important because one, you don't want the data to necessarily go on the public internet. Public internet could get congested at times. You want to be able to ensure some service level between the two data centers, and you want to also ensure security, between the interconnect. So that's what the direct interconnect provides, and you'll find that in the next slide I'll go through the locations that Azure and Oracle have a direct interconnect available, and you'll see that they're all co-located close to each other, and because distance is important for a direct interconnect, of course, as well. Unified identity and access management between the clouds is another offering that we have, and this is not only unified identity and access between Azure and Oracle Cloud, it's also with on-premise Active Directory, so that you can sign on within your own corporation's Active Directory and then be automatically recognized in the Oracle Cloud as well as Azure, or vice versa, sign on to Oracle Cloud and then your on-premise Active Directory as well as Microsoft Azure will be able to recognize you through their Active Directory services. So it's easier to manage identity for administrators. They don't have to create 3 separate users and then keep track of each one, manage each set. They can pass identity from one to the other service, so that it's much easier for them to manage, and much more unified view of the customer for both our clouds, which becomes important when we talk about, say, support. And one of the other major things that we've integrated is support, so that support is now collaborative. When a customer calls Azure for support with an issue and it involves some integration with the Oracle Cloud, the Azure support team can hook in the Oracle Cloud customer support, and we can work on the ticket together. So it provides a better customer service experience for our customers when we both can collaborate together on the same service request. So let's go a little bit deeper into this cloud data center direct interconnect. And this is one of the big important things that Oracle and Microsoft are doing to improve our cloud interoperability, is this direct interconnect. And what this direct interconnect is a dedicated, very high throughput, low latency, private network connection. And we want to ensure our customer data is secure. We want to ensure that their service levels remain high and that they have high throughput and low latency. And that is why we put this direct interconnect together. And so we have right now 6 data centers in which we've hooked up together. And one is in Japan for those, since this is an APAC related group. We have it in Tokyo. So that's a data center from Oracle Cloud in the Tokyo area, and one from Azure in the Tokyo area. For US customers, we have interconnects in US East. So both our data centers in Ashburn, US West, the San Jose area, and then Canada in the Toronto area, UK and London, UK, London, and then also in Central Europe around Amsterdam. And this direct interconnect, we're looking at something like 2 millisecond response time. And if you're looking at this through our cloud consoles, you'll note that Oracle calls this Fast Connect, and Microsoft calls it Express Route. They're the same thing. They're just the direct interconnect. We just brand them a little bit differently. And you can use Express Route to connect to Oracle's Fast Connect, and then hook up Fast Connect to connect to Oracle's Express Route. And I won't go through a demo of doing the direct interconnect. It's actually several steps, and it takes longer than an hour to do, but I will provide you links to some blog posts that show you how to set up these direct interconnects. And most of it's not actually, some hours of actually working. It's just doing some setup and then waiting for some automated process behind the scenes with the Oracle Cloud and Azure to complete, so that you can go and do something else and then come back later on. So it does, from a time standpoint, not take that terribly long for an administrator to set up, but it does require some waiting around for a lot of the back end to do its work. So let's talk about how to use some of the Microsoft tools with the Oracle Autonomous Database. And let's start with Visual Studio. So in Visual Studio, we have, I'll do a demo of this right after this quick screenshot here, but in Visual Studio, what we have is a set of tools called Oracle Developer Tools for Visual Studio. And that is a plugin right into Visual Studio. It's free. You can get it from the Visual Studio Marketplace or download it from oracle.com. And what it allows you to do is explore your on-premise Oracle databases as well as your autonomous Oracle databases in the cloud. It also lets you do some on-premise database lifecycle management as well as autonomous database lifecycle management, and I'll give you some demos of that. Here in the screenshot, you'll see that we are viewing the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure node, and in this node, we have we're connected to our compartment here, and we have some autonomous transaction processing databases, ATPs, and we have 3 databases on here, and then we're right-clicking and we can view some menu items. And I'll do this in real life in just a second, but you can also manage your on-premise databases with some Oracle designers, creating tables, create views, store procedures, etc. A lot of different schema objects, do PL/SQL editing and even debugging. You can edit your SQL, you can do script generation, you can compare schemas between 2 sets of schemas. You can even do this as an offline database project and do source control integration with the create scripts. And for you later on, if you want, let me just, I will have to copy this. I'll put this in the Q&A just so everyone sees it, or let me do it in the chat. I should do it in the chat so everyone sees this. And this is the step-by-step walkthrough for using the tooling, so with Autonomous Database, but I'll give you a demo of it so that you can actually see it. So we'll go back to the presentation mode here. Okay, and let's go to the demo. So let me open up, here's Visual Studio. So here we are in Visual Studio. And I have here the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure node. And in my infrastructure node, I have 3 data centers I'm connected to. US East for my Dev Cloud and US West, so I have those 2. And then I have one called PM Cloud for my US East as well. And then also here, I have some data connections that I can create and explore on-premise and autonomous databases. But let's play around a little bit with the autonomous database and see what we can do. So if you're if you're using, after you install the tools, and if you don't have a Oracle Cloud account, you can sign up right here. You just right click and choose sign up for Oracle Cloud. It'll bring up a web page and you can do your sign up. And the nice thing about Oracle Cloud is we have free services for you if you're a developer. And the free services allow you to use an autonomous database for free, as well as an Oracle Cloud infrastructure a VM for free too. So you can put together an application. You can use Oracle Apex if you want, or anything like that. So I encourage you to sign up for a free account. It's if you don't have one, or if you as a developer need to try it out, it's great, and it's also free forever. As long as you keep using it, we'll keep it available for you to use. And then if you've already created an account, once you do that, then you'll want to connect to your autonomous database, of course. So we'll add a new account entry. So you can manually add the information in, your tenancy OCID, your user OCID, your region API key, etc. But it's generally easier to load it from a tool. So you can get the tool here, and you can follow the blog will have some instructions about how to set it up. But I'll just make it easy and just load one I've already configured here for me, here in this config file, cloud config. And it'll load up the tenancy OCID, my user OCID, which region, my API key, and what is going to be displayed. And then that's for, this is my US West region. And then I have one for Ashburn, which is on the East Coast. So we say OK, and it'll ask me which compartment I want to connect to. These compartments are what we use for isolation, so that what you can do as administrator of a compartment is that compartment is completely yours. It's yours to control. You won't have anyone else using your services, so that you'll be kind of in full control of that. It's kind of a unit of management, if you will, so that you can control things like how much is being used and what are you consuming, things like that. So we'll choose Oracle DB.NET demo, and it'll actually resolve an error because, lo and behold, I actually already have one set up. It says the collection already contains one. So we'll just go to that one then, and we can see that I have one here. I have an autonomous database that's been stopped. If I look on my US East, I have 2 autonomous transaction processing databases and 1 data warehouse here. And these are 2 stopped because you can see from the red dot, this one's running. It's also got a green little star to indicate that it's a free database. So, this allows me to go and manage my databases. Why don't we go and see what we can do? We can, if I right click here, I can create a new one. So let's right click on a ATP. And it'll bring up a little dialog, and it'll ask me what will I like to give it as a name for it being displayed. The database name itself, it'll just give it a timestamp, and so we'll just stick with that. I can choose OLTP or a data warehousing. Because I chose this off the ATP node, it'll only let me choose OLTP, but if I chose it off the data warehousing node, I would be given the data warehousing choice. If I want the database to be on the dedicated machine rather than being on a shared machine, I can choose dedicated and then make some choices there. But we are going to choose another free instance, so we're going to choose always free. I want to save my cost center some money, so we'll choose another free instance here. You can choose how many CPUs. If it's not always free, you can increase the CPUs. You can increase the storage available. You can also let it auto scale in case you're not sure what you need, or it might grow over time. You just let it auto scale to grow, so that Oracle will sample in terms of figuring out, is your workload getting slowed down because it doesn't have enough CPUs? We'll increase the CPUs to allow it to perform well again. And then we can bring your own license or subscribe to a new license, and then we provide a username and password. So we're going to choose always free. I'm going to provide a username and password. Okay, and we'll create a new database. Here you can see that it's also got the green star, and it's also yellow, meaning it's starting up. So If I right click and look at the properties, I can see that a bunch of properties on the database. Its name, it's always free. It doesn't have auto scale because it's free. It's the compartment name, the connection string that it can use. So this is just the different dedicated high, low, medium services that are available, depending on how heavily the connection is going to use the database, connection URL. So all sorts of information here that you can use is available. What else we want to show you? Let's see, we can create a data. If I right click on it, we can create a data connection. And I'll show you that in just a second. We can also do things like clone a database. So if I choose that, it'll collect all the information in this current database and just copy that over and allow you to clone and create one very quickly. We don't need to do that because we're already creating a database. And then we can start and stop the database. We can also terminate the database. Starting and stopping just starts it up and stops it. And when it stops it, I'm no longer using the CPU, so it'll stop charging me if it's not a free database. And terminate means get rid of the entire database, including the data, which you can do. Service Console is a very nice tool. It'll bring up a browser and tell you some statistics on your database. You just have to enter in the database's administrated users. So we'll enter that in. And it'll bring up some nice graphs about the CPU utilization, the running SQL statements, number of CPUs used, the activity of the database, and the administration, some administration that you can do with the database, and some development tools you can work with the database. So that's a nice handy tool there. And what else can you do? You can, let's use, some of these are grayed out because they are not available on the free database, but on a paid database, you can do a restore. You can restore from a backup. You can scale up or down, update the credentials, update the license type, from bring your own license to a new license, and then download the credential files. The purpose of all these tools is really to allow you to stay inside of Visual Studio. That way you can do your basic developer administration from here rather than going to the browser or to another UI to manage. And that way you can have your development experience all within here. And we eventually we will also bring this to Visual Studio Code as well. That's something that we're working on. So you'll for right now it's in Visual Studio, and we can see that the database is now up as well here. So it just got created. So it was pretty fast, only took a few minutes. But let's now create a data connection, okay? So here we're going to create a data connection, and it's going to copy it to this directory. And we're going to download the credential files to that directory. We say, okay. The credential files are things like your TNS names.ora and SQLnet.ora that provide some service names to be able to connect to the database. It also provides a wallet file, which ensures a good TLS security encryption available to the database so that you can ensure your connection is secure. One of the things we've really focused on in the Oracle Cloud is ensuring that it's the most secure possible while keeping it easy to use. So we make it very easy for you to get your wallet in order to use it to ensure you use an encrypted connection. So once that happens, the wallet should actually now be in the file, and it's been unzipped here, so we can see it's just been unzipped now. And as I said, it has your wallet file, and then also your SQLnet and TNS names.ora. And you can see there's several service names here that have been set up: My Always Free High, My Always Free Low, My Always Free Medium, My Always Free TP for transaction processing, and My Always Free transaction processing urgent. So those are available here. And what we'll be able to do is use that, because it goes into that TNS, it chooses that as the TNS admin location, and you can see all my service names are already available. So let's see, one I haven't used, I don't think I've used medium yet, so we'll choose the medium one. And we will choose, I have created an HR account for this, so we can go visit Mr. HR and see Mr. HR data. And let's see if I've typed it all correctly. Looks good. The other thing you'll notice is that I'm using a wallet file, and the wallet, since the SSO file is also in the MyOS free directory right here. I indicated that as the location. It just defaults to that. So we say OK. And what it'll do is it'll connect to the database and create a connection there. So let me expand that. Not sure why it's taking so long. It's usually request timed out. Well, that's odd because it actually connected. Okay, that's kind of an oddity. It connected, but it timed out at the same time. Maybe something weird happened. But anyway, so we can see that I've created the always free medium connection here. You can see my tables. So this is going to our Oracle Cloud database, autonomous database. So it's actually on the East Coast. So it's going to be, so I'm on the West Coast of the United States. It's going to Ashburn on the East Coast. At least I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's the Ashburn data center. So I'm not quite co-located, which is not ideal, but you know, it's okay. This is just a demo here. So I can do things like retrieve the data. We'll pull down all the rows, and anything, if you've used the tools before, you know, basically anything you need from the tools we'll be able to do. You can design the table if you want. We can run stored procedures, for example. So let's go and we'll take a look at this. You get some nice color coding. I've double clicked on it so you can see the keywords are in blue. And what this does is it outputs a ref cursor. We just do a select star from employees and open the cursor. So it's a very simple stored procedure just to show you what it does, and then we could run this, and you can provide input values. The var chart, this input value actually doesn't get used for anything. We're just kind of demonstrating where you would show it, and then it'll output the results here. So you can see there's a output ref cursor. And if I click on this, click here for details for the value, because it's not just a scalar value, so you know it has to show you a set of rows and columns. So you have to click on it and it shows you the results here. So it provides that nice GUI and ease of use, and you can use all this with autonomous database. Let's see, what else can I show you? Okay, so that was what you can do, and of course you can always go and terminate. You know, I'll just stop with that. We can terminate, and it'll ask me, do I want to delete the database? And yes, we'll delete the database we just created. So, and you can see that it's turning yellow to indicate that it's in the process of changing state, whether it's stopping or starting or terminating. The yellow is indicative of that. So that's kind of everything with the Visual Studio. Let's show you VS Code now, although we'll move forward in a little bit first. So with VS Code, this is also free and available on the Visual Studio Code Marketplace. And this is Microsoft's multi-platform IDE. You can develop with it in Python, C# or Java or whatnot. And it allows you today to explore the Oracle database in ADB. We have a set of tools, not quite as robust as what you saw with the Visual Studio tools, but it's pretty handy. It still is quite a lot of functionality. We expect to add in the next year more autonomous database tools. You can edit and execute SQL and PL SQL within it. You can format results in CSV or JSON files. You can do autocomplete, IntelliSense. There's some limited PL SQL, SQL Plus support, I should say, not PL SQL, SQL Plus support that we've added recently, as well as support for the SQL command history, so that it remembers your commands, as well as viewing and saving bookmarks. These tools will work with VS Code on Linux, on Mac OS, as well as Windows, so you can use it multi-platform. So let's do a demo of this here. So here, this is what you see with the tools, and how to get the tools. That might be important to show. So you'll hit the little cog button here, and then you can go to extensions. And with extensions, you can search on the marketplace for Oracle. And when you search on the marketplace for Oracle, you'll see one of the return entries, search entries, is the Oracle Developer Tools for VS Code. And this one, since I've installed already, doesn't have the option to click on install, but you would have the option to click on install. And after you've installed it, you would find it here, this icon, this database looking icon with the Oracle Explorer. So if we click that, and what I'll do is let's get rid of that. You'll have this menu here. You won't see actually anything anymore, but you also have bookmarks and history. But what you can do is, I've already created some entries, but you can always create a new entry here. You hit the plus sign and you indicate what connection type. And so we can indicate, I want to go to a directory, and let's copy this directory. I didn't copy it before, but I'm gonna copy it here. So we can just reuse what we had before. And I'll just put this in here. We'll use that directory. We'll select that folder. Once we select that folder, we see our aliases populated, which is great. I have low already, so let's choose medium again. We don't have my always free medium, so we'll choose that. My wallet location will be the same place, so we'll change that as well. And this will be the HR user, and I'll put in the password again. We'll save it. And you actually also have some more options if you'd like. Most of the time, people, all they need is those connection options, but you can do things like proxy, username and password, and use another schema if you want to use another schema as well. You can do that, but we're gonna keep, we'll keep this simple and just do that. Just the other things you can do is basic, advanced, and provide your own ODP.NET Connect strings. So basic is kind of like providing TNS name, your easy connect information, things like that. So, or you can do an ODP.NET Connect string. So we give you a lot of options here to configure your connection. So we'll create the connection. And we should see it. We are seeing it here as it's connecting. We got created and it's attempting to connect, and it connected it. So it was successful. So we can see the same tables we saw on Oracle Developer Tools, and we can go through and look at the relational tables and see, let's look at the department tables, show the data from that table. And we can also look at stored procedures as well. And just like that, it also has the ability to, edit. And you can see the nice color coding available here, available to you. And then you can, of course, run it as well. And then you can get results back. And you just have to fetch because it's not a scalar value, so it shows up as a fetch button, and you can just fetch the results. You can also run ad hoc SQL. I had some SQL right here. So I have a file right here. It's actually not associated with the tools yet. So if you just had plain old SQL you want to run, how you do that is, we first, it might be associated already, but so you would first choose, I want to associate with Oracle US PLC. So let's see if we can disassociate it. Well, it's already associated. So well, actually, this is what you would do. So you would go here and choose, I want to associate this file with Oracle SQL PL SQL, and then I want to connect with one of the connections I have created there. So we can choose the My Always Free medium that we just created, and there you can see it's connecting. And when it's connected, we can, it'll show you the name, and then now we can run these individually. So we can execute the SQL. If I right click and choose execute SQL, it'll return the results. So we go back we can execute all the SQL, execute all. So it'll show here's the select star from employees, and then also here's a select from $V version, and it'll show me the version of the database, which is 19C. So it shows you all that. You can execute them all together. So very well integrated in here. Yeah, so that you can do this with Visual Studio Code and Autonomous Database. It's pretty handy. So let's go on to the presentation and talk about using Azure with Autonomous Database. So why don't I just go right into the demonstration of how to tie together an Azure web app and the Oracle Autonomous Database. And we'll go back to Visual Studio. Oops, I just skipped over it. And let's clean up some stuff here so that we can work from a clean slate. And what I want to do is create a new project. We're going to create a new web project. And what we're going to do is going to create a web app. We're going to use .NET Core. It's going to be ASP.NET Core. And we're going to take this web app, deploy it to Azure. And then this Azure web app will then go talk to my Oracle Autonomous Database and retrieve data from it. So we're going to tie it together so that you can see what it's like. So give it a project name, give it a location. It'll be local for now. We'll start this locally. We'll develop locally, and then we'll try it out, see if it works. And if it works, we'll then deploy it. So this will be a .NET Core app, ASP.NET Core 3.1. That's fine. We'll make it empty, so it's pretty simple. And then we'll create it. So it's now creating the project for me and putting together all the basics for an ASP.NET Core 3.1 application. Okay, so now first thing we'll need to do is we're going to have to add ODP.NET to it so that it can connect to an Oracle database. So we will go to NuGet to grab that. So let's browse the NuGet gallery and we'll do Oracle.Manage Data Access. And since this will be a .NET Core app, we're going to use Oracle Managed Data Access.core. We're using the latest 2.1991, so that's fine. And it's going to install it. We say OK to the license, we accept, and it'll download it and install it into the project. Brings up the README, and we'll just close a few things here. Close that too. Oh, no, well, actually, we don't need to close that just yet. Okay, so now we'll open the startup, and in the startup, we'll add some code here. And I will cut and paste from GitHub. On GitHub, we have a ASP.NET Core sample that you can use. I'll actually work on improving this a bit more so that you don't have to copy and paste just this middle section. This sample was actually originally created for ASP.NET Core 2.1, and so it doesn't have some things that uses different constructs than what 3.1 has. So I need to update it for 3.1. So here's the code, and you'll see little squiggly lines under Oracle connection and these objects because it doesn't know what it is, because we need to add the namespace so it knows to use that, that assembly. So once we add that namespace using Oracle Managed Data Access.client, which is a namespace in ODP.NET Core, all the red squiggly lines under the Oracle objects disappear. And so now we just have to add our connection information. So gotta type in my super secret password. And I feel secure that no one here is going to use it because I have the wallet, of course. You need more than the password to be able to connect. So if you don't have the wallet, you won't be able to connect. And then we'll put in the data source. The data source will be one of the, well, why don't I just, I closed the directory, but I got to open it again. I've forgotten the, well, oh, actually, I could probably type it here. Yeah, my always free underscore hi. Let's do that. Yeah, my always free underscore hi. So My always free underscore high. Okay, and then we are going to need to indicate where to find our tns-names.aura file and our wallet file. So we use the Oracle configuration TNS admin. We make it equal to the directory where it's located. And now I'm going to need the directory. So let me go back and do a little shortcut here. And nope, that's not this one. It has the, yep. I just need this location again. Should have kept that directory open so I could copy it, but it's here. So, and then also I need to, that just sets up my TNS admin so that it can access my tns-names.aura files. And I also need to set up my wallet location equal to, we'll make it equal to the admin just to make it easy. Now I just need to load the Oracle credential files somewhere as part of the project so that's accessible. So let's create a directory. We'll add a new directory here. Okay, we'll call it Oracle. And then within Oracle, we'll just copy and paste the files. So I'll also want to let's create another one here. Because I'm going to want to open this directory so I can copy then the files over. Okay, oh, there we go. Whoops. I don't know why I tried to do that. It is, oh, did I not? I guess I didn't copy it. Let me try it again. Copy and paste. It's trying to, why is it trying to do open a browser? It is trying to open up a browser. Why is it trying to open up a browser? Okay, let's try this in another. Now this is the oddest behavior I've ever seen. Why is it trying to open it up in a browser? Okay, so is it gonna make me type it all? Oh, maybe, oh, because I didn't conclude the C, that's why. Yeah, it's there, I should now do it right. Yeah, there it is. That's why I was trying to open up a browser, because, okay, so let's copy the 3 files over that we need, the 2 Aura files and the wallet. That should be enough because that's all we need. And then let's go back to our project. We are going to, it's been added to our project, so that's great because it's already there. And I think we're ready to deploy now. But let's, well, actually, we got to test this out to make sure it works from on-premise. So let's just, I'm going to hit F5, and then we'll deploy it. We'll deploy it after that. So let's see if this works. Might take a little time. Let's see. Yep, it works. So it is trying to get it across the country from the West Coast to the East Coast of the United States. But we see the first names that get returned. And actually, I didn't walk through the code, what it's actually doing besides the setup, but we're basically opening a connection, selecting the first name from employees table where the department ID equals, here we're binding a parameter 50, and then just returning all those results. So pretty simple application. And so we saw it work on premise. So my on-premise web app is connecting to an autonomous database in the Oracle Cloud. Now let's move that to Azure. And when we move it to Azure, we're going to have to change the directory where it gets its wallet from to something local on Azure. And so we will use the local directory there, which is dhomesite /ww root. And since we named it Oracle directory, we're calling it Oracle here as well. So we save that and we are ready to deploy. So let's publish this and get it out there on Azure. So we choose Azure as our publish target. We can choose App Service Windows. If we can choose App Service Linux as well, since it's .NET Core. It already knows my account, so it looks up what I have available. We're going to use my VS Enterprise account, and we're going to create a new Azure App Service since I don't have one already set up. So it'll create a new one, give it a web application and a timestamp, name, give it a resource group, and I'm going to choose a slightly less expensive hosting plan, which is the basic one instead of the standard one. And we're going to make it available in the West US too, so it'll be close by. Now you're going to need to use basic one and not free or shared with autonomous database because you have the wallet. And with free or shared, you're kind of you won't have the ability to set the website load user profile, which is what is needed in order to use a wallet with your application. So you need to be able to load a user profile, and the only IS service where that's available is the basic one level or higher in terms of expense. Free or shared does not have that available. So we say okay to that. We create. And when you create it, it'll start standing up the website. It'll then also start deploying the application that I created, and then it should be almost ready to go. It won't be quite ready to go because we do have to make that website load user profile setting available. So as soon as the website is up, even before it uploads all the files, we can start working on making sure the website load user profile is set. So looks like it's all ready. So we tell it it's ready to create, and we say, yep, finish it, we're ready to go. So it will then go to Azure, and it will set it up. We publish, and we're publishing the application up to the Azure cloud. So we can see it building, and we should see some files being thrown up there. While that's happening, let's go to my Azure console so we can see that the website has been set up. So the website's been set up, even though the files are still being uploaded, which is fine. We'll do a little bit of setup here to make sure that the wallet file can be used. So what we want to do is to set, it's going to try to launch it, but it's not going to work until I set up the wallet. So we go back here and we go to the configuration. And in the configuration, we will add a new application setting. This will be called website load user profile. And we just have to enable it, so we set it to 1. So we say okay, and we refresh it, and it'll just bounce the IIS server. I will also want to go verify that I have everything all set up in terms of everything uploaded okay. Where is the console? Right there. So we can take a look at the console and just make sure everything was set up. So I have caps locks on. So yeah, it looks like it's okay. Oh, it didn't upload the Oracle directory, so I need to upload that. And so let's make sure that gets deployed. So we'll publish Oracle as well, that Oracle directory. And looks like it's publishing. And we can take a look again when we verify this. There it is, the Oracle directory, and the 3 files we need are uploaded. So we should be able to run this. Let us go to browse, and the browse will just launch the website default page, and the default page should have our results. So give it a minute, and we should be able to see the result come back. Connection request timed out. Let's see, maybe I misconfigured something here. Let's see, home site www root/Oracle. Now that seems right. Okay, let's take a look again at my configuration. Let's just check to make sure that I have typed. Oh, you know what? I didn't save it. That's why. I don't know how I didn't save it. That is weird. I was going too fast over that. Website, load user profile, okay. And here it is. Save it, continue. Okay, and just to make sure, yeah, it's a website load user profile to 1. Okay, it's updating. Now it should be, let's see if it has bounced the not the database, the IS server successfully. It's not yet available, so it's coming up again. So when it saves, it's just bouncing it, restarting it essentially. And we should be successful now, I hope. Because we're almost out of time. Yep, there it is. So I show you, it's a real life working demo. It couldn't access the wallet, which is because I didn't have the settings saved. Must have gone too fast over it. But let's wrap it up here. So for setting up the interconnect, here's some links for how to do that. I have the announcement when Oracle and Microsoft announced our cloud interconnects, how to connect your Azure web apps to Oracle DB, and different ways you can set up the direct interconnect, whether you're using just the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure with Azure, with the Autonomous Database Serverless or the Autonomous Database Dedicated, and also setting up Active Directory in the cloud. And all these links are available with this URL, otn.oracle.com/windows. If you're interested in any of these tutorials to set up Oracle Autonomous Database with .NET, you can also go to our Autonomous Database webpage right here. So with that, thanks for joining today. Just some URLs for accessing more information. The GitHub site is where you can get sample code from. So Anton, I don't know if there's anything else, if we have time for questions, or we got to wrap it up because we're about top of the hour.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. That was a really good session. Really enjoyed that. We don't seem to have any questions at the moment.
Okay.
So I think what we can do is wrap it up there. Just want to again say thank you to everybody that's watching this video and attending. Please feel free to interact with the speakers via the portal. And then also, as we mentioned before, the videos will be available for 2 weeks to review. There's a lot of good content in these videos, so I know I'm definitely going to review a few of these. So just keep an eye on that. And yeah, thank you so much. And please register for all the other sessions for the rest of the week. There's still some pretty good ones out there. And thank you so much for your time. That was really good. Really enjoyed that. Thank you, Alex.
Anton. Okay, bye-bye.